Hello everyone, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1, and welcome to another Sunday Mobile-thon. Now, Field McConnell is still in jail, and Timothy Holmseth is out free as a bird doing who knows what. Everybody's having a good old time except for Field doing their thing. And we're having basically the same old. Agent Margaritaville has bowed out of the fight, gone back to whatever he was doing before he started arguing with Tim Holmseth, and doesn't seem to be sitting too well. There was a little bit of a rebuttal by Tim Holmseth, but that eventually went away. And we seem to be getting in an area of complacency and calm as everybody goes about their various avenues, because there really isn't anything to do until something happens with Field McConnell. And that something is going to be Monday, I suspect, when Broward County finally releases the information about what is going to happen to Field McConnell. It is expected this is going to be done Monday, and by sometime Monday we should all know what is going on. But a few details have leaked out on the internet, mainly by Agent Margaritaville, who was able to contact a number of individuals directly involved in the case. And basically what is going to happen is Field McConnell is not going to have a reduction in his bail. He is going to have to come up with $100,000 bond. That means that he's going to have to pay somebody, or somebody is going to have to pay somebody $10,000 to procure the bond. Now, it is suspected that it is the son that lives in Stuart, Florida, that is coming to Field McConnell's aid. Now, he apparently would have the resources. He owns a business, he owns a house, so on and so forth. So he's probably in a financial situation where he's going to be able to come up with the collateral to cover this bond. And I'm talking to people in the industry. There might be a bit of a problem because it's not a common thing for a single bonding company to come up with a $100,000 bond all at once. They usually will say, we'll do some of it, but we're not doing $100,000. So it may take at least two bonding companies to share by giving a bond of $50,000 each in order for Field McConnell to be bonded out of jail. But Field McConnell's problem when he bonds out of jail is he is going to be isolated, because in the order that was proposed by the attorney on Friday, Field McConnell is cut off from the outside world. No internet, no nothing. Zero. Field McConnell does not do the field reports. Eager Beaver has vanished into thin air. There has been nothing on the field report in over a week. I think we're going on 9 or 10 days now that we have had nothing out of the field report. Nobody, well, let me correct that. Field McConnell did not show up at the function in Texas. Denise McConnell did not show up in Texas for this conference. It is rumored that Dr. Goodvibes showed up. Not confirming that, but that was a post that was made on my YouTube channel that someone had seen Dr. Good Vibes at this conference that was closed to the public for the most part. Very little has come out about it. You had to pay to see any live streams of it. So nothing was garnered from it. Don't know if anybody said anything about Phil McConnell at all. We don't know if Timothy Holmses showed up at this thing. There are certainly no pictures out there to indicate that he did. And so what we basically had was a big nothing. Now, the one thing that has happened that is going to go down in the loss column is that we had a bit of a bad vibration, which of course is the title of today's things. You know, bad vibrations, bad vibes, whatever you want to call it. As some might recall, Dr. Good Vibes had filed a writ of habeas corpus argument with the court right around the time that Phil McConnell came to Florida. Well, the decision came down on that, and it was rejected because Phil McConnell had not gone through the appellate process yet. He hadn't used up all his options, in other words, for fighting the extradition and getting involved with the writ of habeas corpus. So it was a wasted effort on Dr. Good Vibes' account. I was told by a number of legal sources that this thing was going to fail, the minute it came to the attention of the court, and it has. The court has rejected his argument, and it explains why in their decision. So that chapter is closed. Now, there has been no news about the foreclosure. I would suspect that at least the homeowner's insurance has been paid, because if it hadn't, they would probably have taken the house immediately. But we have no way of knowing that. And we also don't know if somebody has managed to pay the taxes on the house. There's been no activity on the filings by the state and the county and whoever on the property taxes surrounding the house. It has not been closed. Nothing's come out that says, yeah, the taxes have been paid, so on and so forth. What we do have is that the Internal Revenue Service case is still active. He still owes federal taxes. The federal government has a lien on the house. And so that part of the situation has not been resolved. Now, there's been a number of discussions, mainly by Agent Margaritaville, as to what has happened with the money that could have gone to pay the federal income tax. In one direction it probably went is with all the cars. In another direction could be his lavish lifestyle, his traveling overseas all the time, and the various activity he's done, the collections that he has, and so forth. He's basically redirected monies that could have gone to the IRS into his own pocket, and thus he's evading federal income tax. There's no legal loophole for him to not be paying his taxes. The IRS would not have filed a tax lien if he had legitimately come up with some kind of loophole to divert his revenue. He's evading federal income taxes. It's that simple. Now, it's going to be difficult for me to discuss anything with the bond case until such time as I learn directly from the court exactly what happened. I've heard a lot of rumors and speculation by various people as to what went down there, and it would do more damage than good to sit there and go over some of these other than it's come out that Phil McConnell is in very serious trouble, and not just because of the Florida case. It's apparent that his troubles are very severe up in Wisconsin. Now, there is a rumor that's been floating around the past couple of days. I've had more than one individual send this story to me, and that is that Phil McConnell actually shot at somebody that had to do, I think, with the foreclosure. That Phil McConnell actually fired his gun at the car of a woman was in that had something to do with the foreclosure or some other civil action that he was involved with. Now, if this is brought out in court, which I suspect it has and would be a possibility, then Phil McConnell is going to find himself being extremely restricted by the court. And I'm going to be curious to see just exactly what these restrictions are. There's a number of options that the court has open. Now, another thing that Agent Margaritaville came up with is that Phil McConnell's social media presence is going to vanish eventually. And I told people that if they want to archive Phil McConnell's social media, they better do it, because he ain't going to be there for very long. The court has ordered it gone. That's according to Agent Margaritaville and at least two other sources that have contacted me anonymously, that Phil McConnell is going to vanish from the internet completely. And that means everything that Phil McConnell has done from day one. Now, there's going to be social media about Phil McConnell from other people, but apparently anything that Phil McConnell has done on his own or have had sponsored, such as the Field Report, Able Danger, and so forth, this stuff is going to vanish. This may include emails, file sites, everything. Phil McConnell is going to cease to exist. You know, this is pretty severe. When you stop and think about the kind of punishment that's being levied by the court, this is quite severe. And this is before Phil McConnell even goes to trial, if what Margaritaville says is true. This is unprecedented. I've never heard of anybody in all my years of following court cases being completely shut off like this before there's even a trial. I would have to conclude that there must be a lot of damning evidence against Phil McConnell, that it's a mountain upon mountain, and it is true, there is. Because Phil McConnell has broadcast on a daily basis his hatred of Kim Picazio, and almost on a daily basis he has made threats. And I was noticing on social media recently that there had been a picture of Miss Picazio with her head cut off, and something Phil had said that this is her fate. That's a threat, and it's one of many. And I have personally witnessed his threats live on his YouTube as it was happening. He has made these threats, and there's thousands of people that have witnessed it, so we all know it's true. He did threaten the life of this woman. You know, there have been excuses for his behavior coming out, but the fact of the matter is, it is a threat. And it's certainly, the threats are far, far, far more severe than that against Kathy Michael. Kathy Michael got one letter, allegedly from Agent Margaritaville that she considered a threat. And I read the letter, and if the incident did happen the way she said it happened, that is a threat. But again, Phil McConnell made the same threat. He made more direct threats, and he made these threats frequently. So if Kathy was the target of threats of this nature, then so was Kim Pacazio. And the punishment needs to be the same. There needs to be an accounting for these threats. Now, if any legal action has been taken against Agent Margaritaville, it has not been made part of the public record. Now again, the FBI does not just come out and say, well, we're investigating this person to the general public. It's usually between the party involved. In this case, Kathy. The FBI would take her account, take any evidence she had to provide, and they would investigate it. But they're not going to broadcast it. They're not going to put out a bulletin on the FBI.gov page that they're investigating Agent Margaritaville. Just as they're not going to advertise any investigations going on in regards to the activity surrounding the Abzug case and any other cases that may have been in violation of the law. Now this brings me to the Abzug case, briefly. I was contacted by someone that said that the facts that have been presented in public so far have not been entirely correct. And this individual has stated their willingness at some point to possibly come on one of my murdathons during a live stream and explain their side of the story and reveal information that they have regarding the Abzug's case. And I've told that individual that I would be willing to allow it. And that individual is working out how they're going to do it. This may involve the use of some kind of audio interface to disguise who they are. Because apparently this individual fears for their safety as well as not wanting people to know where this information came from as far as the specific identification of the individual. And so I am waiting to see what the final decision is going to be here. And if this individual decides to come on the murdathon, I will make an announcement to that effect later this week. Now, as far as the Abzug case itself goes, there has been no new developments. I have not heard anything out of any hearings, both in Oklahoma. I have not heard about the case in Colorado. Nothing. It's just, I believe the case is still sealed, and this is the reason why we probably are not hearing anything. So, until there is a public disclosure of the Abzug case, then we're not going to get too much detail about what's being done on that front. What we seem to be getting right now is people that are familiar with the case willing to make statements about it. The person I just talked about has given me some information to dispute what was said on the Friday Murdathon and comments that I have made about the case. And one of the things that has come out is that Cynthia's daughter did not, according to this person, prepare the information that was used to obtain the arrest warrant. The information was apparently dictated by the representative from CPS that was working with her, that it was hearsay. At least that might be what they say in court. But the important thing is the daughter did not write out the complaint. It was written out by another party. The daughter may have signed it. But what would have to happen in a case like that is the individual that wrote out the complaint would have to swear that this is a true account of what she had been told by the daughter in order for it to be valid. Otherwise, this creates a weapon for the defense to work with. And there are some other details that have come out that I would prefer that the individual present in their own words, so that there's no third-party mistake when it comes to trying to convey information about this case. So it looks like we're going to have a few things to talk about during the week. Now, nothing really new has come up from Timothy Homseth other than he wrote an article last night saying that evidence has been turned over to authorities having to do with people being involved in kidnapping of babies in the Ukraine embassy and all this other nonsense. The problem is, if you take a closer look at the documents in question, you will notice that they are dated 2010. So, Timothy Homseth is once again recycling old material. There is nothing new. But Tim Homseth does this to generate attention and to keep his name out there. He never comes up with anything new unless it's another suspect that he'll name, like he's done with Montegraph, like he's done with Agent Margaritaville, like he's done with me, and like he's done with others. He keeps coming up with new suspects. And this is a modus operandi he has done from day one. And it is true of this 2010 material that I discussed that Tim Homseth published. And, basically everything that came out over the weekend I alluded to on the Friday and Saturday Murdathon. Now, in true Homseth style, he might publish something by the time I get to the airport and get ready to start my itinerary for the week. So, we have very little going on at this time, and it's who knows what's going to happen when I come back tonight, or while I'm going about my business during the rest of today. I'll do my usual tweeting and stuff. If something dramatic happens, if something comes out, I'll tweet about it just like everybody else does, but tomorrow might be the big day. Tomorrow might be the day when we are going to have something of substance to discuss. Now, if Broward County gets off the dime and publishes the stuff before noon on Monday, then I'll be able to go over everything. If they don't, I'm going to be a little restricted on what I can talk about. I'm going to try and work with the contacts that I had to see if I can learn anything about whatever decisions were made on Friday and what is going to be the conditions for Field McConnell to get out, excuse me, of jail, and so on. is Phil McConnell going to be able to come up with a $100,000 bond, and who is going to pay for it? Because it will be published. It's public information. If his son bonds him out, that's going to be in the record. You know, people need to understand that we are very open in Florida on public records. And we are going to know every single solitary discount piece of information about everybody in this case. You know, if it gets in the court record, such as names, addresses, telephone numbers, and so forth, it's going to be made public. And so anybody that sends money to Phil McConnell's commissary fund, the public is going to know about it. If somebody sends a letter to Phil McConnell, the public is going to know about it. What's not going to be known is what Phil McConnell is going to be allowed to see, because the courts are going to restrict, if I read the information correctly from people, on what he can receive. He may not be able to read these letters, and so forth and so on, because he's being isolated. So we're going to have to see just how severe the court is going to make Phil McConnell's conditions for being out on bail. Now, his being out on bail initially is going to be for about a month, because we're coming up fast on April, which gives us a little over a month before the first hearing or actual trial in the case of Phil McConnell. The first Friday in May is when we're going to find things out. But and that'll mean that I'll probably be starting a new countdown, and that is Countdown to Justice, the trial of Phil McConnell. Yeah, I will probably start that on Monday. And so we will have a countdown plus the number of days that Phil McConnell has been in prison and so forth. Because if he's let out on parole, he's still in custody. You know, legally he is still in custody, even though he's out on bail, because he's going to have to wear an ankle bracelet, GPS monitor, and he's going to have to meet other conditions that the court sets down, depending on the level of monitoring. There's different levels of monitoring, from the most moderate to the most severe, and whichever one that is doled out to Phil McConnell, that was what he's stuck with, because technically he is still in custody of Broward County. He's just released from jail while awaiting trial. It's a very fine point. But you know, when somebody gets out on bail, they're not exactly free. They have to meet in certain conditions. You know, the least restrictive would be to be let out on your own recognizances, and that's usually not done in a case this severe. There's going to be some kind of bond in a case like this, and in Phil McConnell's case, the bond is set quite high. And what people need to take into account when trying to figure out what's going to happen with Phil if he gets out on bond is that he has made, allegedly, threats against an officer of the court. Kim Picasio is an attorney. She's considered an officer of the court. Phil McConnell has also stated on his webcast threats against judges, prosecutors, attorneys, all kinds of people involved in the court system, officers of the court. This is going to be on the mind of the judge when he makes a decision as to what is going to happen with Field McConnell if and when he is able to procure bond to get out of the Broward County Jail. It's obvious things are going to be in place, like he cannot go anywhere near Kim Picasio. There's going to be a radius set up that he has to stay out of. And there's going to be, according to Agent Margaritaville, restrictions on the use of the internet. There's not going to be any more of these jailhouse calls, no more Bible readings, none of this. It's gone. If Field McConnell wants to read the Bible, he's going to have to do so in private, either in his jail cell or where he winds up. Now, it's quite likely, if I remember correctly from the Friday decision, that if that's what's given to Field McConnell, he is going to be living with his son and wife and their daughter, which ought to go over well. So he's going to be confined to a gilded cage. He's going to go back to being in a house pretty close to his in quality. He's not going to have a collection of antique cars to play around with and so on and so forth, but he is basically going to be confined to quarters for the duration of the legal matter. So, and throughout all this, everybody that has worked with Field McConnell, has been around Field McConnell, are not suffering in the least. Everybody's doing pretty much the same thing they did when all this started. And Field McConnell, right now, at this very moment, is sitting in a county jail awaiting his fate on Monday, wondering what's going to happen Monday and what's going to happen from Monday forward. You know, because getting out of jail is not going to solve anything. It's just another step in the process. Field McConnell still has to go to trial. Field McConnell has to face a jury. Field McConnell has to face the evidence of everything he has done. Not only with Kim Picasio, but anybody else. Because all this will come out. Hours upon hours upon hours of videos, audio recordings, emails, all of it. It's going to be out there. Testimony of witnesses. All of it's going to come out. And this is all going to be heard by a jury of his peers, not internet junkies, not people that are followers of the Children's Crusade or Murdathons or any of that. This is going to be the general public who has probably never been aware of something of this magnitude going on the internet. They may have heard stories, they may have seen TV shows, they may have seen fictional movies about hackers and conspiracy theorists. Some may have heard of Julian Assange and some of the other characters that have gotten involved in the various conspiracies. But nobody's heard of Field McConnell. Nobody's heard of the kind of things that Field McConnell has threatened to do, allegedly. But they're going to find out. And depending on who it is that gets on that jury panel, Field McConnell may be in for a rough time. Field McConnell may get adjudicated guilty and may find himself in jail for the rest of his life. Because Phil McConnell is a year older than me. He's 70 years old. And a lot of things happen. He's not in the best of health. He's admitted that himself. And now we have this coronavirus going around. And I've read about complaints where people in prison are at a much higher risk for the coronavirus because the prisons don't provide the kind of material that you need to prevent the spread of this affliction. They don't allow soap. They don't allow hand lotions, the type of things, depending on the prison, that would prevent or mitigate the chances of getting this virus. And so that's kind of an unexpected problem for Phil McConnell and anybody else that goes to jail from here on out. Yeah, because that's an interesting side fact, that a vast majority of the people caught up in the criminal actions are people over the age of 50. And that's getting into the higher risk areas for this affliction. That, excuse me, that it is people in my age bracket and people 50 and older that are of higher risk for getting this virus. And it's spreading pretty fast. And so who knows what's going to happen health-wise to Phil McConnell. And their coronavirus is not the only thing that is going around in prison. There's all kinds of diseases that go around in there. It's not the most sanitary place to be. And, you get confined to prison, you get exposed to all kinds of things. A majority of people in prison are in the lower income bracket. These people don't have access to good health care. Their lifestyles make them prone to diseases and so forth. So that's, Phil McConnell's really in the worst place he could be right now. So, as I come to the end of another Mobile-thon, I just want to wish everybody well today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless you all. And I will see you for another Mobile-thon tomorrow. So this is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1. Have a good one.